So the mental constipation, you constantly have something said that's going in your head every day, all day, every day. A person with this, the marks of mental slavery, because being able to be free of mental slavery is being able to learn how to unlock that constipation and allow all that negative stuff to flourish out. For me, I spent too many years thinking okay, so the marks of mental slavery, it's everything in terms of, like, how you identify the people in the first part of this book. Um, it's also identifying your own self. Every person has a mark of mental slavery, no matter who you are.
Mhm.
Now, I compare prison to the physical prison in itself, because I'm gonna say this, even though my son don't like this word, but it's the easiest way to describe it is a mental constipation. Given a
Hmm.
perfect example, like you, I was told by people when I first went to church, and I think I was 18, 19 years old. I was constantly told what God told them to tell me. Now, because I'm already damaged and I'm just a teenager looking and searching to help myself, literally try to heal from this, I ran into people that were dictators and I listened to it. So the mental constipation, you constantly have something said that's going in your head every day, all day, every day. A person with this, the marks of mental slavery, because being able to be free of mental slavery is being able to learn how to unlock that constipation and allow all that negative stuff to flourish out. For me, I spent too many years thinking that there was no possibility. This happened to me. It's God's fault that it happened, because now I'm in the church now and they're
Right.
telling me things about God. I'm a basketball player at this time. This is an honest to
Mhm.
God true story. I was told that I needed to stop playing basketball because it's making me gay and that you couldn't be gay in the church. And that
Mhm.
God told them, what they told me in terms of quitting. So, in this moment in time, here's a moment that's shifting everything in my life, my mindset, my thoughts, everything. Well, if God wants me to stop playing basketball, knowing this is everything I love, I'm looking for a 4-year scholarship. Matter of fact, I had two on the list, not even knowing. And I listened to someone else. Mental healing is a matter of being able to take control of your own mind. The matter of
Yes.
being able to guide your life the way the way God has, because we all have purpose, right?
All of us.
Even if that purpose was to give a smile to an individual walking out of the store looking sad, that's
Yes.
purpose. That's
Absolutely.
purpose. It doesn't have to be this big thing. That could be purpose as well. And so for me, the marks of mental slavery are very evident when we have such a selfishness of individuals who would rather get so fat on the monies that we can make involving humanity instead of getting fat on seeing other humans heal. You got to remember, we're going way back. This is 1610 on the United States continent. We're not talking about healing from the other continents that we came from. We put all that on the back burner and said that we were okay when we knew mentally we're not. Why are we not okay? Because that same thing that happened to us is playing in our mind, and we can't tell anybody. Why? Because they gossip. How am I supposed to be free if I can't relate to another human? So again, it goes back to that isolation. It goes back to feeling ostracized. It goes back to feeling alone. It goes back to that moment of depression. And now we look at America and we see, oh my God, everybody's depressed. Oh my God, everybody has a mental condition. Oh my God. But then it's like, oh my God, nobody wants to do anything. All they want to do is just talk. We got to do more than talk. And I know I can
Absolutely.
say this. I can say this because I've done more than talk. I put action to it,
Yeah.
you know? And so that's the problem, that we have to unlock. everything that's stuck. And this is when I went through counseling, and he told me, he said, you're going to be careful when you stand up. And I'm thinking, because I'm a joking kind of person, I'm thinking, why are you going to tell me to be careful? I've been sitting here all this time. But we had talked about so much, and I unloaded so much. My head felt like it was tilted, like I literally, it was tilted. And I couldn't believe that that was carrying so much weight in my head. Like it was a real thing. If I could draw a picture, my head would literally be this fat. You know what I mean? But having the ability to release all that and get all that out my mind and have someone connect with me and says, this is what you're feeling, this is what you're going through, and this is why. However,
Yeah.
I had to be willing to put the work in. You can't just expect the therapist to say, "Bling, you're healed." No, it's hard work. It's
Hard
dark.
work. Yeah, and it takes some time, and I'm glad you got to the point where you're like, you know what, I need to talk to somebody who's a professional because we don't want the gossip, right?
Yeah. Well, I had to.
Yeah,
I, I,
about
I
go ahead.
no, I said I had to. My again, I didn't even expect all that came out. This was 2020. My sister, I literally was with her a week before she passed of cancer, and so I had already scheduled it. I was a correctional officer, and I had already scheduled the appointment because I just didn't know. I didn't know where to direct what I was feeling, and everything and everybody around me just, it just wasn't working. They were not a good support system. You know, it was like I was on a highway going. I mean, I was flying down. Phew, you know what I mean? And the thing about it is, I wasn't out to hurt anybody. I was just out to understand the kind of pain that I was feeling. But at the same time, what happens is with trauma is, what I learned is when you go through another form of trauma, post traumatic stress disorder, uh, from that first initial trauma, everything comes up if you haven't dealt with it. And guess
Mhm.
what? I hadn't dealt with it. And so I was of the age of 52, I believe it was, when I began that work within me on that, you know, to understand these toxic and behaviors of what was going on in my mind. So yeah.
Yeah, and that is so true. And that goes even back to the stat that I shared earlier about, if people were wondering, like, how is toxicity being the fifth killer? Because you are embracing that trauma that you spoke
Mhm.
about, those environments, those behaviors. It's in your mind. It trickles down to your body. You begin to have dis-ease, and it causes all types of other
Yep.
diseases and illnesses, and it can take people out if you don't take care of it. And one of the reasons you have to take care of it, the first thing is step is us really understanding, wait a minute, there's something wrong, because we sweep
Hmm.
so much under the rug, like you talked about earlier, 1610. We're sweeping all these things under the rug and not dealing with it. But you
Hmm.
have to get out of that sense of denial and say, hey, there's something wrong here.
Hmm.
So if you can't put your finger on it, at least if you could understand there's something wrong with it, I need some help, and then make that initiative to go and get that help. That is that is pivotal in the healing process, is that you got to realize it in the beginning. And I think about what you said, and actually my next book that I'm working on deals with a family member, and I just think about the trauma that she went through, and how she wasn't able to effectively deal with it. And so she's no longer here by her
Hmm.
decision because of that trauma. And so, like you said too, sometimes maybe your purpose is just to bring joy to people. Don't sleep on just smiling to somebody, because you never know, that smile to that person, you don't know what they were getting ready to go and do that next minute. But because they got a
Hmm.
smile from you, because they got a, how you doing today, and you stick around, you stood around to listen to their answer of how they were doing that day, could change how somebody, what their plan was to go in the beginning. So I love that. I love that. And Oh, there's so much we talked about and so much, and I want to make sure that y'all definitely check out her podcast. So cast it so that you can get more in-depth information about this thing we call trauma and how it affects you and how we carry it, right? So we need to be able to release it, heal from it, so we stop carrying it, so we stop passing on these behaviors to people that we in our social environment, but also for those of us who are in a level of influence. And a lot of
Mhm.
times we're all in a level of influence because somebody is always looking up to us. And even if
Right.
somebody's not looking up to us, if we're in an environment in a home where there's children, where there's other people, how you treat them is going to affect how they deal with people in life. So you got to do your part and do what's right so that we can start breaking those cycles and breaking those destructive patterns and
Mhm.
dysfunctional patterns that people are going with and thinking that it's okay because they grew up in the environment. That's all they know. They become familiar with it. And it's just like, no, that's not it. We got to show them a better way. So, oh my
We
gosh.
do. It's mind blowing because listen, when I was going through therapy and he said to make a genealogy thing, all of this is new to me. I'm from the hood. Let's just be real. Like we not taught any of this, not taught nothing. And so I'm like, all right. So it sent me on this quest. Girl, I done went as far as 1910. Found out my great grandfather was in World War I and World War II. You know what I mean? Like having to the ability to find my family history, but like you said, we've conditioned ourselves to be comfortable with it. And the truth is, it's rare for people like you and I, and it's hard when you come around and literally ask someone, "Hey, you want a quote?" They're like, "No," like, "Whoa, like don't disturb it." Kind of like, but even for those people who even are there, like even with your book, people you can read this book and you can have full understanding. Even if you're a person who goes to work and don't be a problematic to someone, you're just, man, I wonder what's wrong with Sally today. She's always like, read this book. You can have a full understanding. All you got to do is add life to Sally by saying, Lord, like God hears our prayers. Then in order for the people in Egypt, let's go back as far as Egypt, not 2025 slavery, but Egypt slavery. In order for
Yeah.
them to get help, they had to cry out to God. You
Mm-hmm.
know, what blew my mind, Dr. PJ, was when I went into counseling, and the first time I went into a group counseling, let me tell you, it was so strange because that was like nothing I've ever done. And
Mm-hmm.
so the lady asked a question. She's like, "How many people are here voluntarily?" And I was like, "It's like only one raising my hand." So I had to look around and ask myself, "Well, why are these people here? I thought they were here like me." They were there
Right.
because they had to be ordered to be there. Someone told, a judge told them they had to be there. You know what I mean? And it's like when you put yourself in that position, again, it's insanity. You're doing the same thing, expecting a different result, and then you're mad at God. How about doing something different, getting something different, and understanding that God shows mercy to those who love Him? Like, it's that simple, but it's complicated.
Absolutely. Yes, it definitely is. And so we're getting close on our time. I don't want to end the discussion, but we're getting there close on time. And so when we started this conversation, before y'all saw us start this conversation, you brought up something towards about the work environment. And I was like, oh, I didn't say it then, but I wanted to say I wrote this book, right? How I survived toxic work environments. Thought I was good. Then I ran into another toxic work environment. And I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go. And so really what I found out in this environment, came in there, kind of putting my head down, but still being me. Like, I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to be doing, not knowing that there was somebody over there in the wings waiting and telling things about me that weren't true, trying to set me up with my work, saying, oh, yeah, I'm helping her. They weren't helping me. Even got to the point where they told me, you need to speak to people on your level. And I said, what, on my level? What, what, what does that mean? Because you're speaking to people that I don't know. So But if my job is to bring in strategic partnerships, I'm going to speak to people. If you knew those people, then you would have had the job. But they hired me to do the job because they didn't have. And so, and unfortunately, the toxicity mainly that I've experienced it at all different levels from all different types of people, but the majority has come from it from people who look just like me, who walk just like me, who comb their hair just like me. And that is disheartening.
It's
But
very disheartening. I had someone that looked just like me told me they were going to make my life a living hell, and I had just started. I'm like, what did I do? I had literally returned from going to the circus after not working for 3 years. I was flabbergasted at the behavior of our that look like me, their mindset, but it does show that we haven't taken time to heal.
right,
Those are the
right.
marks of mental slavery. They really are the marks of mental slavery. Like we're not opening our eyes to see that that really is the mark. They're identifiable.
Mm-hmm.
Especially they're easy to identify when you haven't done anything. Now I can see if
Yeah.
I came in doing something, that would be understandable. But when you come
Mhm.
in and you're literally affecting the environment in a positive way, I'm still
Mhm.
trying to figure out, was you playing or was you playing? Like, was that a joke? At the end of the day, it does go back to that because, I label them people as the Tillman keepers. So
Mhm.
you can put that one in, the Tillman keepers. Those are the kind of people who would allow that to happen. Like back in that day, there were those around that saw that happen. And you're a
Yeah.
Tillman keeper in my mind. Like you are willing to watch them destroy me. You're okay with that. That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's toxic. Why? Because why are we fighting with each other?
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, we should be promoting one another, helping one another, telling you can do this, get through the day. It's all going to work out. But here's what I found. Because I had someone come up to me after just talking about the website, everything. They said, I'm this way. I'm always going to be this way, and I'm not going to change. I said, I love you just
Yeah.
how you are. It's not my place. See, that's what I've learned, the beauty, even through this. Because when we were in counseling, right, one of the ladies was like, this is a lot to take in. I said, treat it like an elephant, one bite at a time. Just one bite at a time. Because if you try to
Mhm.
take that elephant whole, you're gonna die just by trying to swallow it whole. Do it one
Right.
bite at one step at a time. So me knowing where you're at, you don't want to change. Guess what? Neither did I at some point in my life, and God said differently.
Yeah.
Because if you don't change, you're going. Here's the thing about change. If you don't change, you're going to change one way or the other. You're going to increase your negativity, or you're going to learn to heal from everything that's causing you to be negative. Period.
Mhm. Yeah. I love that. I love that. And yeah, and when you talk about just biting the elephant one piece at a time, what we've experienced didn't all just happen at one time. This is years on building.
Exactly.
So how do you think it's all just going to happen at one magical moment when it took 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years
Yeah.
to get you where you are? So it's going to definitely take some time,
Yeah.
but for folks to remember that it's never too late. And if
Mhm.
you're in that place where you're just like, I am who I am and I'm not going to change. Okay, I hope you see the light, one
Yeah.
day. All I can do is pray for you and hope that that guard kind of lets down. But yeah, I
Yeah.
love you anyway.
I mean,
Because
let me just say this. I was 55 years old when I discovered what real self love is.
Mhm.
55.
Wow.
That's,
Yeah.
it's in my mind, it took, I kept every excuse was I'm too old. Like I have to work. I'm too old. I have to work. I just got to work, pay bills, keep moving. I just got to work. And it's like, I mean, I have endurance, However, that was one of the things that blocked me is I felt, and I told the ladies in the group, I said, to be honest with you, my most embarrassing thing is to even sit here with you guys at my age to
Mhm.
go through this. However, the reason why came out with 32 years of fear, the kryptonite to courage, is because it took that long for me to to conjure up that much courage to talk to
Yeah.
someone and share with someone what happened to me as a kid. I was only 40 years old when I first opened up. And so, like you said, in that process, the moment you're ready to do that is the moment you equipped yourself with more than enough mercy, love, and grace. Because you're gonna need all of it to get through,
Oh, mhm.
that detoxing, as you say in your. Well, I'm giving it away a little bit in your book, but that was my favorite. That was my favorite chapter. I ain't like. I was like, man, I can't wait to get to this chapter because I literally read the whole book. Like, I'm not an avid reader. I didn't used to read because I was too embarrassed because I was in my mind, I was too ignorant because I didn't know how to. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But now I read books, and that was just it was pretty awesome to be able to experience having someone else understand what it is that I was going through. Even in that moment, like I had told you before, I was about to return back to the circus. And
Yeah.
mentally, I wasn't ready for that. I was constantly, my daily prayer was, Lord, give me that strength because I am not my sisters or my brothers. I'm not, I'm not going to respond that way. I keep getting tested. Here's what I was going to say to you earlier, real quick. It
Mhm.
takes 0.002 seconds, I believe it is. I have to fact check it for me to react. Like it that quick. Our reaction could be that quick, which is why we have so many problems. Our reaction time with people, especially our people, we're so comfortable and taught, man, you better now and we talk about it later. And so one of my biggest challenges was just isolate yourself, find your peace, because that's all that matters, because it's me, it's not you, it's me, it's not you.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I just really hope people begin to understand. The healing has to start within ourselves. And when you said earlier, toxicity, one example of toxicity is the self toxicity and even the self limitations, because that
Mm,
is something that I struggle with all the time. I
mm,
don't necessarily portray it and be like, oh, but it's something, we all, like I said, we have something that we struggle with every day. And
mhm,
every day I'm waking up fighting that thing on my shoulder saying, oh, you don't need to do that today. You don't need to help that person today. You don't have what it takes to help that person. And I'm like, no, that's what I'm struggling with. And so it's so important for us to be vulnerable and to share our stories with people, because we never know who we are changing. And I tell people, there's when I was getting my dissertation, they have us read all kinds of stuff, and I loved it. And I used to hate reading. And oh, just to go back to that point, I used to hate reading because I was a slow reader.
mm.
And I felt that all the kids growing up read faster than me, so I felt inferior because
Yes.
I couldn't as quickly as they did. When I was in third grade, they do all those testings, throughout elementary, whatever. I was in third grade, I believe it was, and we took one of those standardized tests. They called my mom in to go over the test results. They told my mother that in third grade, I was reading and comprehending at a sixth grade level.
Mm.
But they told my mom that it's probably a fluke. She probably just figured out a system to answer all the questions correctly. So we don't really think we need to take any action to advance that knowledge, but we can just keep her here. And that was one of my first things I can remember as a child, of racism being
Mm.
on me. Because even as a kid, I could understand, like, wait a minute, these kids are different than
It
me.
doesn't you can't comprehend it.
Yeah. And the teacher was doing this. And so my mom was just like, we just gonna let it go, but you keep doing what you're doing. And I say all that to say, back to, sometimes people can see your purpose before you can see it. And sometimes the enemy knows the very thing that you're supposed to do and does things to try to bring you back, to dial you from going towards your purpose. Because if you can make it to your purpose, the amount of impact and change for the positive that you can do for people is enormous. And so in doctoral school, there was Eric Erickson talks about these stages of life, and one of them is it talks about when you get to the stage of maturity as an adult and you realize that your life is not your own. You're here for a purpose to help the next generation. That is pretty much a sign of full growth, of full maturity. And so I love this conversation with you because we're at the point where we can say, hey, this is what I went through, because us being vulnerable, us sharing our stories, it's not a point of, oh, I'm afraid to share this story because I'm embarrassed, because we realize now it ain't even about me.
It's not
I
even
went
about, yeah.
Yeah, I went through that for a certain reason. And so whoever can learn from the negativity that I had to experience, let them learn so they don't have to go through it. So they can say, oh, I recognize that. I'm gonna go ahead and turn right instead of going left, and keep going and pass that on and stand on the shoulders, because we're standing on shoulders of people who made mistakes, who had triumphs, who pioneered so that we could have a better life. And so that should be our ultimate goal, is to get to that point in life where you realize it's not my own. So everything that I'm doing is to help somebody else, whether we may not, and we're not going to see people that we help all the time. It's going to be
Right,
so
right.
much that we don't even see who we are. And it's not even about counting the amount of people we're helping. It's about doing who we were designed to be, living our purpose, that God had put into us. So I really enjoyed this conversation. This is so great. Is there anything else that you want to add, leave with the people? And definitely with that, please let them know how they can contact you, how they can um, tune into your podcast, get involved with any events or whatever you have going on.
Of course. Yeah. Again, we're here to help everyone. And again, like you said, I like that you said we're not counting. Throughout my pathway, I've been told by people, oh, you motivate me. I don't even know how. I just kind of live my life. But you can find information on www.soulcasted.com. The podcast is on there. There's blogs that I've been doing lately. It's on there. Also, there's like a little information about me on there, as well as booking. So if you're interested in what you're hearing, please, feel free to do that. What I want to leave with people is just know our minds matter. And it is for our minds are the vision of the future. Like you said, our ancestors went through a lot to get us to this point. And I'm quite sure, their thoughts, their heart's desires was for us to be mentally free, not just physically free, because they didn't have resources. I'm the youngest of 13 of my mother's children. They didn't have these resources to say, hey, I'm hurting. And there are people out there who do care, who want to see the minds healed. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I enjoyed talking to you. And again, go get this book because it will help you. It is so awesome to read. It's a good read, a good reread. Matter of fact, real quick, someone had called me and I went to your book. I was like, girl, you dealing with it. You dealing with it. So it's okay. You'll get through it.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Thank you again for being on our first guest, kicking off this third season. And we are
Yes.
really deep into these stories. So thank you so much. Look forward to connecting with you. This is just the beginning. I have some other
Yes,
things I want
ma'am.
you to, but we'll talk about those at a
Okay.
time that comes. But I got a vision. So, and you're in it. So don't worry about that.
I know
Just know
I
I
am.
warned
I already know. It's like you said earlier, God ain't gonna tell you something without tell you without telling me. I learned that
you.
lesson.